the 3D experience in some different levels. So initial is space visualization. As you must have come across that walkthroughs, the 3D walkthroughs, everybody knows about it, that which is, I don't have to explain too much about it, that you can actually have a space management or space visualization using that thing. Now what comes the next, because that walkthrough is self-running. As you are watching a movie, a director is actually giving you and you are at receiving end. You can't actually, somebody says that if you take your camera over there, you can't do that. So next that level that comes in is that space visualization along with interactivity. I will show you one of the demo. Sure. So firstly, let's get acquainted with what are the levels that you are talking about. And don't worry, I will upload it on SlideShare, so don't write it. Better actually just pay attention over here, because every time in every slide you will come across some kind of like buzzword or some increase in your vocabulary. So get adjusted and don't get intimidated with some kind of like new words. Anyway, so coming back to our slide, so level 3 is nothing but the space visualization interactivity. Right now, just a couple of sections back, Rohit was explaining a very important thing, that is analytics. So suppose if you are presenting everything, what does it mean to a producer or who is like your client? So that's analytics is very important. We will demonstrate you the railway simulation demo. Like suppose a new trainee that comes into a lab and he has to undergo very crucial, very difficult some steps to handle one complicated machine. Now what happens is that in normal scenario, he is handed over by some kind of like book, technical manual. He goes through it relentlessly and then he comes back and then shows that he can actually do it. Now it becomes very tedious and very expensive to give a kind of like fighter plane to any person. So it becomes quite a difficult task, or which is in fact it is not suggested or not feasible. So what happens is that people have started coming up with flight simulators. You must have heard about it. So flight simulators and all those things. So flight simulator, you have seen it only the end part of it. But suppose means if Dassault or say another Airbus, what does it mean? Because if that is given to you, will it be okay, and after that completion of 2 or 3 couple of hours, will you be able to actually fly that plane? So management is still not fully concerned or fully confirmed about this thing. So they must have some kind of like feedback that out of this 10 candidates, 2 are totally not eligible for this particular post. They might not be handled it, and one of them is very bright candidate. So that kind of how that management will take the decision. So what happens is that here exactly this kind of like simulation that comes into picture, which creates an analytics. So suppose if that flight simulator is given it to you, then what kind of, suppose if you want to switch off shut down the engine or take a right turn, then which buttons you actually switch off, or there is a sequence of buttons. So what kind of actions do you take and how much time you take. So all that analytics will be whenever you are interacting with that particular object, that is triggered, and this kind of like management chart will be created and given it to management, which is totally transparent to you. You might not be knowing that I am working on this one and this kind of like charts are getting developed. So this is called as an analytics. So this is another level where some kind of like smart objects are created. They are actually, again, they are keeping a very close eye onto your actions, and they are recording all these things and providing some kind of like reports to the management. Now what's next? So this is about analytics. Then the space visualization, interactivity, analytics, along with collaboration. Now still, what you can see is that some kind of like on display reality, where you are actually working with say monitors and everything is not real. So whenever you come across or you want to see some kind of like realism in that the 2D rendered images, so there comes the augmented reality. Augmented reality is nothing but mixing and merging of a digital world onto a physical world. Now that was the level 4. We are going to see what does it mean, and last stage, right now I have noted it down, that it's a virtual reality, that you are immersed into a 3D world, how you can actually see that thing. So virtual reality is a kind of like buzz. It was a buzzword few years back. In 1960s it started. It was totally too expensive. It was only for the classes and very, very high fund people, or very, very say high-end people could use it, because it was so expensive to develop and to use one kind of like virtual reality environment. It used to cost more than 50 lakhs rupees I'm talking about. So it was not for masses, but soon we will have a actually discussion, few slides, that I will explain you what happened, that miraculous changed, and the total industry was revolutionized. So Girish, can we? So let's have a demonstration of, say, interactive walkthrough, that is auditorium.
So right now I'll just show you a couple of things that we've done in the last 5 years. Again, as per the levels that Praveen mentioned, how things have evolved, what kind of work has happened. So rather than saying if we could do this, we thought it would be more relevant to show you stuff that we have done already, and all the things that we've learned from them. So for the real estate market, how does this technology actually fit in addition to your video walkthroughs that you have? How can the technology enhance that experience? So here we created, so there was this plan of the auditorium that the builder wanted to showcase. So this was before the thing was actually built. Before the actual space is built, you have your floor plans, all the designs. It's very difficult for a lot of people to visualize. So therefore you have the video walkthroughs. But the problems with the walkthroughs are, it gives you a very limited perspective. At the most you got like 1 minute, 2 minutes worth of video. It's not enough information to give you a complete picture. So this is where GIMS technology, if you actually marry it or apply it to this particular domain, you can do something like this, where I'm able to interact with it. So level 1 according to Praveen, I'm moving around wherever I need to. So this is the entire auditorium. I can get to see the details of the carpet, for example, chairs, materials.
So it is taken for granted that the photorealistic look will be there, but there was another requisition from the client that suppose if I go to a back that chair, and how would I see that particular view? Is that that view is getting obstructed by some other thing? So you can go virtually to at any place and actually view it from there.
Then you also have simulations that you can run again. So at the click of a button, I can actually show how the lighting of the space is actually going to change. So when the show starts, for example, the lights start dimming down, goes pitch dark, and then the stage lights come on. So all of this mapped to a real world process. So think of this that there's a builder who's wanting to build something like this, and he's going to the government and saying like, no, this is what I want to do. So it's enhancing communication, it's making it really effective.
So in a way it actually helps in a great decision making. That decision making I was talking about, that this is only the one level 1, where it helps you in kind of like decision making, because you are totally having a lot of constraints, that how the visualization. And as Girish was talking about, like there are innumerable other options that you can provide it with the use of this game technology. Colosseum, the same thing. Okay. Yeah, rail simulation. So now, as I was talking about, this was only the first level of interaction. Again, the operator is handling, or there were kind of like limitation of the number of interactivity that you can give. Now, just have a look at this operator mode. Like this piece of software was given to, say, some kind of like candidate who is actually going to become a railway engine driver. So how he would do all the operations. Suppose that operation is given to him to switch on one particular, say, this screens.
So basically, you have the cabin where you have all the buttons and all the equipment that the driver is supposed to handle. So how does he get familiar with what are the different options? So you have, you can program your interactivity. Say like, okay, you can click this, that turns on the display. You can attach text-based information to an object. You can have.
Please stand clear of the doors.
So if you go to the Delhi Metro and you look for this button and you press it, that's actually going to play that. Opening, closing of doors, that's the button that is used. So you can, now just in terms of technology, so what we have done here is we have the 3D world, you've got all the objects that you can interact with, you can embed text-based information, you can embed audio and video. So again, all of this purely using Unity, which is, all of this is coming from the game side. You have your cutscene videos, you have your text displays, audios there. So this is a different application where you're trying to see how it can be used in the real life.
So on the top of it, as you can see that this was actually going into some, say, walk mode and operator mode. Now we can see some other level where you can go to an exam mode also. Means instead of actually making something, you can have a particular kind of like demo mode before that, so that initially as a faculty or say mentor, he will take you toward to the whole process. So this will take you to the whole process. It's a kind of like sequential action that you have to press this key, then change this particular lever, and automatically you have to turn around, switch on that particular battery contractor, then activate another button, then turn back, and then it is activated. So this was one procedure. As I was talking about, it's like sequence of actions that you have to perform to actually take care of, say, this is only the one action. So now in study mode, what you can do is that you can go and you can simply click over there. Now these are all tracked. These are all tracking information. So you can actually, suppose if you are making any kind of like mistake, so similarly that intelligence is there. Now this is a very, very raw level of artificial intelligence that I am talking about, that the system itself is quite intelligent to check now what kind of hint you are looking for, at what level you are. So this total artificial intelligence is imbibed into, can be imbibed into the system, and it can give you those kind of like feedback that you are at level number 17. So this kind of operation is, that's what you would like to give. So finally, once everything is done, you can actually go through it, and then finally it will give you kind of like feedback that this activation procedure is complete. So this was a kind of like study mode. Now when you go to an exam mode, where actually if you are performing any mistake, then it will directly take you out and it will not give you any kind of hint. This is a very, very small vertical slice of, say, some kind of like artificial intelligence system. So this was, I think, level 3.